All right, excuse me. Sound check, please. Hi, CC. How are you doing? Oops. Let's see here. Get my pointer focus going real quick. Here I am. Oh, my back is killing me. But I'm gonna do a live stream for you guys because it's been a, pretty big move today and some stuff, and just want to kind of go over some things. I was originally gonna do, and I had it planned with Crypto Joe to do a live stream with him, but he had something that came up, and we'll do it another time. Maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna wait on him to text me back. But anyway, me and him will do a dual live stream here pretty soon in the future. So anyway, okay, so we're about there. Let's give it a couple of minutes. Do you guys have any questions or anything you want me to answer before we get started? Other than where is Bitcoin going? No, you're fine. You're fine. All right, so let's go ahead and delve into it a little bit, shall we? All right, so Bitcoin, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit and talk about what happened last night and my thinking and reasoning, and where I made a mistake. I really thought that this would wick down a little bit further back into this 9,500 range and test the 20 EMA. Never did, right? And so where did it hold? Okay, well, this little blue line right here, when I go back and I look at like this downtrend that you see right here, right there, see that? We had an up move and then we had a dip. Okay, hey Fabio, how are you doing? Had the up move, had a dip. So the thinking for this blue line up here was, well, if this decline right here should match this one, then that's where your blue line ends up. And look where it hit. Hit the, and I think I had it when I had it drawn in, 50% retracement from there to there. And then that decline equaled this decline. And that's what you get. And then boom, right off of it, never closed below the 10 EMA, just wicked below it a little bit. Thought it would wick a little lower, but, hey, can't get them all right. So now what do? We're going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit. These retraces are gone. We'll get that out of there. We'll take this out. And just kind of clean up the whole thing, and then that way we can start fresh, right? But we still have our retracements to the upside. And really, to be quite honest with you, in there, but then eventually we're on our way up to the 61.8 retracement. That's a longer term fib retracement, and that's at 11,000. Okay, so that's where it's headed. And in the meantime, this thing just looks, it's just a runaway freight train right now. And we had to know that this was happening and coming with all the pump and halvening and all that stuff. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. And until this thing closes below the 10 EMA, then why fight it? Why fight it? I mean, we just had, we had a bearish candle here, candlestick pattern, but then it got reversed immediately with a bullish engulfing. And so if that doesn't send a signal, I don't know what does. And so basically what's going to end up happening is anybody that's wanting to try to short this and pick the top, they're just asking for trouble, right? That's just like trying to catch a knife in a downtrend, right? At some point, somebody's going to get it right and it'll come back down and we'll have a decent retracement. But until that happens, there's no sense in fighting this. And why would you? It's a bullish chart. Any questions on that? I mean, this thing just looks unstoppable right now. So, anyway, bullish on Litecoin, or Bitcoin, I mean. Well, bullish on everything pretty much. But let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin. This one here, I was a little worried, and it still hasn't broke above that doji right up there, okay? But I was a little worried about this one last night, right? Had this right at the top of the trend, doji, and then a big red stick for an evening star. It's not a perfect one. In fact, you're probably never going to get one on a regular chart. You may get one on a futures chart, but you're rarely going to get one on a regular, like a Coinbase exchange or Bitstamp or anything like that. But then it came back today, and again, no close below the 10 EMA, and bounced hard off of it and is trying to follow through, trying to get through this 38.2 retracement. Right here at 78. 61.8 is right above it. Right there at 80 on Litecoin. So, good looking stuff right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. And this one had me worried a little bit last night as well. We had this old area of, resistance, which turned into support, and then it wicked down below it. Just hit the 10 EMA and then bounced right off. And so now next area of resistance is around 255. Let's call it 254 to 255. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, sorry about that. Dogs and cats fighting. All right, so Ethereum, that's where we're at, 254 to 255. Let's go look at the big winner of the day real quick, and I'll come back to XRP. Link. I mean, what can you say about this? I mean, just once it broke that area of resistance, came back a little bit, retested, and boom, there she goes. And I don't know that that's really the end of the move just yet, but it's getting pretty close. I would say 431. 431. Hey, Overton, how you doing, sir? Chad, yeah, let me take a look at DGB. Let's see here. And that one looks to be getting its act together too, and it hasn't run in a while, so let's go over to the USD. Let's look at DGB. I usually do this on the Bitcoin pair, but well, let's just do it this way. Let's see if maybe this move might equal, if it gets up here somewhere, maybe around, what is that, gig? Not even close to a penny, but, and then let's draw a fib retracement and see if something matches up in that area. Maybe a 1618 or a 1272. Probably a 1618 is my guess, but let's see. Let me get my eyeballs working. There we go. How's that for you? Anybody see what I just did there? If you want to see your resistance on Digibyte on the USD pair, do y'all see how I did that? And I'm gonna start over, okay, real quick, just so you can understand. All right, so when I see something like this, I'm going, okay, well, wait a second. Here's this move, okay? And so I'm going to go over to the left over here. I'm going to take my trend-based fib extension, right, which will give me an equal move. So I'm going to go to the bottom, draw it up to that top, okay, click it, and then draw it down to the bottom. Click it again, and there's the one-to-one extension, okay? But we don't stop there. There's got to be something else that might be in the way, right? So go to your fib retracements and just draw a fib retracement from this high right here down to that low. And lo and behold, look what pops up, a 1.618 fib retracement right on that one-to-one extension. You can't make that stuff up, guys. Right? I mean, we saw it with Bitcoin last night. We see it right here with the USD pair on Digibyte. So maybe that's going to be a short-term top. And then you would want to see it come back, and we will look at, when it gets there, we'll look at areas where it might, come back to, right? And then if it holds together, then continue the uptrend. But this is a nice move right here, and this is a good start for Digibyte. So if you're wanting to get long Digibyte, I don't know that I would just get into it just yet, unless you're wanting to play a few, couple of sats or whatever. You may want to be able to wait until, maybe if it breaks this 233, see if it comes back down and holds it, or the 200 EMA. Right? Don't chase price. Let it come back to you in the area you want, right? Because we know that this is going to be some bigger resistance. Now, if it doesn't hold, you can look back over here in this little area right over here, just barely above it, at 898. That was an area of resistance. So, don't let it head fake you and wick you above it and then drop all the way back. So just keep that in mind. About longing Bitcoin now. Well, let's go take a look at it, right? We're at 10,335, and as I said earlier, this area right over in here, okay, and I talked about it last night, this is an area of big time congestion, right? You see this? That's where, it was going back and forth chop, and then that's where the big drop. So somebody was a big seller right over in this area. Big seller over here. Big seller there, big seller here. You think that same thing's going on over here? Or is that person still there? Whales, whatever you want to call it. This area right here, 1, 2, and we're there right now. So I eventually think that this is going to end up testing right up in here, and more than likely this downtrend line. Okay? And if you guys remember my post on Twitter, and I think I even put it in the Discord channel, when I did the weekly chart, I gave my outline of what I thought might happen, right? And I thought it would come up here in the 11,300 area, and then dip back down and eventually breaking through all of that, right? So up, down, and then the bigger move up. That's still how I'm seeing things. Nothing's changed. So it's just a matter of your time frame and your. For all I know, this thing, may not pull back as far as what I think it will. I think eventually, once it hits 11,300, then we come back and, what is that? Probably about 1,000 point dip. Maybe a little lower. Maybe even retest 10K. But, nothing's really changed my opinion on what I think is going to happen over the next few months. I remain bullish. And just remember, guys, back here, I was calling the end of the bull or the bear market back in here, right? Back in here, I was calling the end of the bear market. And all we've done is break, come back and like a choppy retest. It was painful. And then now do we start this next huge move to the upside? Time will tell. I mean, Bitcoin's Bitcoin and it can do anything it wants. Okay, so any questions about Bitcoin or Ethereum, Litecoin? We went over Link. It's kind of stopping right here, pausing a little bit at the 1618. So, price is way outside Bollinger Bands, probably, comes back in a little bit, and then we'll see from there on a retrace. May even have to do our, deal with the, fib-based trend, seeing if these match and, if you get a shallow retracement or not. Hey, crypto fan. Yeah, let me take a look at, okay, so we did LTC just a second ago. I'll go back to it. Yeah, okay, and there we go. I think this is going to negate this whole pattern. It's getting close. So anyway, when I went over it last night, I was talking about this pattern up here. You had a green stick, doji, red stick. That's a reversal pattern. And the thinking was that if it broke below the 10 EMA, right, which it wicked, but it didn't close below it. But I was expecting this, to, and I think I even said in my video that if it can reverse this, it can, obviously go and make higher highs. There is still this resistance up here. You got a 38.2 and you got a 61.8 right there in front of you. Clear those and this thing will take right off to 91. Close to 90. Okay? And right now, I don't see anything that's really telling me. I mean, we are getting, indicator going down, price going up. Just something to watch. I mean, if it can hold this 50 area, maybe even 40, and then start to curl back up, then this thing could really get some legs and get going. Which would propel, obviously everything else would follow along in suit, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that stuff. This congestion zone and make a higher run than what it has, but maybe at some point it will. Still looking at that 30 cent area, 29 to 30 cent area, and then still has to break this resistance area. So, XRP is just, what can I say? Maybe it's going to be one of the laggards. Maybe it'll be one of the last ones to finally come around. EMAs are still looking good, right? So nothing to get discouraged about if you're long. It's holding the 10 EMA. It's above the 233 and above the 200. And you got the 20 and the 50 hooking up. So shorter term EMAs are looking good. Longer term looking good. So until something drastically changes here, I would still be bullish on XRP. I would really, watch this area up in here. If you're long, think about maybe taking some profits up in here, as it probably would, first try, probably not break through it. But then if it, right? Okay, so BAT. Let's go take a look at BAT. BAT looks, let me see if these fib retracements are good. Yeah, still good. BAT still looks good to 32 cents. You do have this little top right over here, one over here. It's wicked above it a little bit. Would like to see a close above these, right? Get a close above those, or just get a big bullish move above the 50% fib. All right, so I still like BAT to go higher. I don't think that's the end of this move. And then let's go to ZRX. And ZRX last night, here a while back, we had this area of resistance, which was red at the time. I turned it to green once it broke it, and all it did was come back and retest that area. And now it's hitting, this 1-to-1 extension. It's hitting some fib retrace and, little pause right here. So this is a big area to get above for ZRX. Okay, let's see what questions we got here. Let's see. Yeah, BCH. Yeah, I'll go over that one here in a minute too. Hi, Friesen. How you doing? Good to see you. Fabio. Who partnered with Google? Okay, I'll let you answer that one and I'll come back to it. Excuse me. All right, so let's go over to one that I mentioned last night. I didn't put a call in the channel, but rather it was, and I wanted to see what would happen today, right? But I think ADA is, I said keep an eye on it last night, right? And I'll show you why. Oh, Friesen, I'm doing okay, other than a back that's killing me, which I'll get fixed tomorrow. Painful stuff, but hey. All right, so when I mentioned ADA last night, here's why. Because we've got this big area of resistance right over here. We've got fib retracements right here, and it's just building a base right under it. Okay, and it's holding the 10, it's holding the 20, and now we're starting to see the stochastic RSI hold this 50 level. Okay, the thinking on ADA is that it could do and have a move, because if you zoom in now, let's zoom in, you had a bottom here, higher low, and then you get blast off, and now it's just consolidating, right? Just consolidating right here below resistance. Okay, it's consolidating for a move. So one of two things is going to happen, and I'll give you my opinion. One is that it comes up here and tests it and drops on its ass, or it just holds right here and blasts right through it, which is what I think is going to happen. And I think this thing busts 700 sats fairly soon. Just the way things are going. I'll be shocked if it doesn't. So, doing a nice job of holding the 10. If it wicks, the 20 holds it. That's strong. And now it's not closing below the 10. This thing could just power right through this. And then, let's see what happens when it breaks past that, right? Could break past this and then come back and retest it. And that's when we change this red to green and see if it holds as support. So if it breaks through, hold as support, and then eventually take off to higher highs. Okay, so that's Cardano. Here's one that really kind of ticked me off. VET, and my fault on calling this one, and I should have had a lower stop. When I originally saw this, one of the things that I was thinking about, other than it was holding the 10 and it was crossing the 20, was it looked like an inverted head and shoulders might form. And so in my mind, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, well, maybe I should have the stop loss for everybody down a lot lower than where I had it. And so if you did get stopped out, my apologies. But you can kind of see it formed that, right? And so, break this 74 level and she's going to run, right? Probably into the 80 sat range, 85, possibly even up to 90. So that's what I'm seeing on VET, at least. EMAs are looking good. It's just, closing above on a strong stick above the 50. 200 about to cross the 233. So, this thing is lining up at least longer term. And maybe, I think this is just going to go quicker than what we think. So that's VET on the BTC pair. What else can we look at? XTZ. I mean, what can you say? Look at this thing. And that's what you get when you break resistance and you come back and test it as support, and then it makes this move, right? And really, this thing just keeps, at least on the Bitfinex exchange, that was the high, and it just keeps climbing higher, right? At some point, that's a parabolic move right there. And we know what happens with parabolics, do we not? Now, this thing could end up going a lot higher before it ends up coming back down. But right now, it's just, if you're not in it, it's kind of scary to buy it right now. Hey, let's Bitcoin. Yeah, let me take a look at NEO. And do you want that on the USD pair or Bitcoin? I'll do the USD. Okay. I think we've seen this before, haven't we? Here we go. Resistance, 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 and then it dropped below, right? And now it's broke above. Looks like it's trying to hold it to me. So can we do something like this? I think we've seen this pattern before, right, guys? Seen that pattern before? And so what can we do? We can do, let's just do something like this. Let's just say I want to do, we had this move. Okay. So if this move is going to equal that move, then you've got some resistance right here around 1478. Okay? But if, and let's just say it's a big if, but what if we get this move, and let's just say we do it there. That didn't work out too well, my bad. Tried to catch it right on that line. I couldn't do it. Let me do this. Either that or it's a lot higher than what I think. There we go. Okay. Take this move, and on a breakout above resistance, then you're looking somewhere up in here, close to 20. So you could get a $6 move. If Bitcoin really blasts off, takes off, a lot of these things are going to follow. But you're going to have resistance here immediately. You're going to have resistance around 1550. If that breaks, then your next resistance is going to be up around 1750. So this thing could move rather quickly. Okay? My only advice, and I'm not a financial advisor, okay? But you could sit there, and if you got in, and preferably you would want to get in on a retest of the 10 EMA and maybe even a wick below it. And then after that, if price starts to move up, then just trail your stop loss right here where the 20 is. Because by that time, the 20 EMA will be creeping up, and just trail your stop loss up each day. Just keep moving it up. And then if it stops you out, it stops you out. But at least you've made money. And I think that's what we're all in this business for, to make money. Okay, so that is NEO. Adam, I think we all talked about this one last night. This one looks okay. I like this reversal pattern right here. It's not a full-blown total reversal, but enough to get it back here to the 38.2. LPTETH. Yeah, I think, didn't I do that one time before? I may have. Let me see if it actually saved it. LPTETH. LPTETH. I don't know. That's not coming up for whatever reason. Let me look in LPT. I got the BTC pair. Not sure if that's going to help you or not, the BTC pair. Let me try it again. Here, LPTETH. Yeah, so it's not pulling up for me. Anyway, weird. So it still has, I don't know. I mean, could it be a bottom? Maybe. You know, you got some support down here, but, you know, with everything, I think there's better plays if you want my opinion. I mean, not to say that this thing can't just run out of nowhere, but why mess with something like this when there's other things that have better setups? Chad, yeah, let me take a look. REP USD. REP USD. It seems like I've done that one before. No, I guess I haven't. Let's see. Okay, REP. That's interesting. Well, I mean, it's holding in this little channel right here above the 10 EMA. Hard to argue that. Big spike back here. And, I mean, pay attention, guys. I mean, this is what can happen when you get these big, huge spikes like this. It takes a long time to recover, and this one's trying to recover. I just wonder how many bag holders up here are starting to, if they average down, are wanting to dump up in this area, you know, and then you get another drop back down. So, in my opinion, I would give this one a little bit more time. I mean, it's still, it's a nice little bounce. You know, I think, you know, and here's an example. And no matter how much people try to pump the dang thing, I'll give you an example. And I you know, it's Matic, right? See this? Pump, dump. And then look what happens. You get a little bounce back, short covering relief rally. And then it just does nothing but goes sideways for, what are we on here? That dump happened back in early December. So a little over 2 months, and people are still stuck up at 570. All right, there's still a bunch of people stuck up here if they haven't averaged down. And guess what? Their average price is going to be somewhere in here. You know, so you're running into that brick wall, right? So, oh, you're welcome, Chad. Yeah, so I would steer clear of Matic if it was me. Now, at some point down the road, obviously, you know, people are going to get tired. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to sell out. It's going to wash out. But somebody, you would think if that's happening, somebody's going to be there to soak up all that selling and just, maybe keep price right here. It could stay between 185 and 225 for another couple of months, if not more. I mean, look at this down here. It was this way for July to November before it finally took off. So same sort of thing could happen here. Just keep that in mind. There's better plays out there. Okay, guys? Better plays. Okay? What else you guys got? What else you want to look at? While you guys are thinking about that, I'll go ahead and pull over the Bitcoin futures chart. Okay. We'll take a look at it. And let me change my cursor or pointer focus color so you guys can see what I'm pointing at. And here we go. GNT. Okay, I'll take a look at that one. So again, here's the thinking, right? We've got this gap up here to fill at 11,795. Right over there. There's that gap. This 261.8 retracement, it's basically right over in this little stubborn area right over here, what we talked about, pretty similar to the other chart area, is what I'm looking at. I mean, could it wick up here to 11,800? Because you never know with Bitcoin, people will FOMO into it and you get that wick. But just be careful of people having sell orders out there when it hits that price, because it more than likely will happen. Okay? And Bitcoin did break this resistance level over here that I had in red. So let's just turn this baby green. And there we go. All right. So going forward, if this thing comes up and then decides to come back down, let's start taking a look at this 10,000 area. Okay? That's going to be on watch. So that's what I've got on the futures chart. All right, let's go. Let me get my pointer focus back. Oops. Turn that back to black. Okay, let me see. GNT. Let me go take a look at it. And is this going to be on the BTC or USD pair? Let me see if I've ever done this one before. GNT. Nope, I haven't done it there. Let me look at my USD pairs. Nope, never done it before. Or if I have, I don't remember. Let's go to GNT BTC. All right. Okay. Ooh, that's rather interesting. Okay. So breaking above the 200, breaking above the 233. That looks promising. Let's go from here down to the bottom. There we go. And let's get... Okay, so it's past that. 60. There we go. 61.8. And let's throw a 1272. Okay. So hitting the first initial resistance here at the 61.8 at 589. Break that, and you're going to hit some bigger resistance, especially right up in here. Let's do this as well. Let's go ahead and just do let's do a horizontal ray just for now, and let's draw it from right there. And then let's go ahead and change the settings on that, and we'll turn it red, since that's going to be resistance. Okay. So this area right up here at 660, That's going to be the area to watch. You got a fib 127, or I'm sorry, 78.6 strong fib retracement number, and that old resistance line, right? See that resistance line? So that's going to be an area of resistance. Okay, nice move, looking good, nice move. But it's going to be a test right here. Okay, it's already hitting a test at the 61.8. So maybe a little bit of a pullback off that and then come back up and retest that. That would be the guess. Let's scroll back a little bit further and see what else we get. Let's see if maybe we can get a fib cluster to line up somewhere. So let's draw that from there to there. And let's go ahead and do... Let's get that out of the way, and let's see if we've got like a 38.2, no, 23.6, not really. I mean, you got a 38.2 just above right there. I'll leave that there. So resistance here, and then this wick resistance right there, close to the 38.2, so you've got some resistance to get through, but this thing could power right through it. You know, I just think it would be in its better interest to come up here and then just retrace a little bit and then take off and get some more Momo behind it. All right, what else can we look at? Let's go look at the DGB BTC pair. And again, oh, you're welcome, Fabio. My pleasure. And, you know, here we are. Falling wedge, right? Hit the bottom part, hit the bottom part. We shall see. It may take just a little bit longer on DGB, but I'll tell you what, once it breaks this area right here, which has been a major pain in the rear, this thing could get some good upside. It's going to have a hard time getting through probably 90 initially, but then after that, you know, it's just a stair step higher, and it'll probably end up just chewing through this resistance. So that's DGB. Theta, we talked about that one a while back, and it's been really whippy, right? This move, and then just nothing but whipping people to death right here. So that one's God, it's a hard one to figure out, but it's just staying right here between this 61.8 and 78.6, right? Just a zone. It could just stay in that for a while before it breaks up or down. I think you're probably right. Freezing it probably will be. Just because DGB just doesn't get the exposure that most of these other ones do. And most, as much as I love DGB, I mean, it needs to be... it needs to be out there on more exchanges. A lot of people can't trade it because they don't trade the exchange that it's on. If it was on Binance, it'd probably be over 200 sats by now. But that's not my call. That's Jared Tate's call. And I know he's stubborn. He doesn't want to have to resort to that, but got to give the guy credit. He sticks in what he believes, right? Okay, what else we want to look at, guys? Maybe we should go take a look at let's see, Bitcoin Weekly, maybe? Let's just get an update on this one, see how things are looking. Okay. And for those of you that have not been in here before, I'll just go over this chart again. Okay, this is Bitcoin Weekly. Okay, and so when Bitcoin had obviously the blow off top and the top, the bear market ensued, and it comes all the way back down, tests the 200 and 233-day moving average. Once it bottoms right here, right, and it makes this nice little, cup, mini handle, and then goes up. But here's my thinking, is that if this move that it made from here over to here, and if this was the bottom, I'm looking at this from a time perspective and a symmetry perspective, meaning that time-wise, this whole move, right, lasted for 196 days. 196 days to go from here, which was a 344% move, up to here, right? That was basically 3,150 to 13,000. That is a 10,000 point move. Okay? 10,000 point move. So if we think that something like this might happen again, then what do? I'm going to take the low, and if I'm thinking that this is going to last symmetry-wise the same number of days as this one, then all I did was draw it out to here, and then I did my 1-to-1 extension and drew it up here. And that's what gives me 17,182 by June. I think that's where I had it. Yeah, by the end of June. I'm not saying it has to stop there, but I'm just saying if this move equals, or if this move equals that move, then over time, 196 days from that bottom, does Bitcoin do something similar to this and eventually get there? So anyway, so far so good. So far so good. Let's see how it plays out. I think it's just kind of fun to do things like that, because symmetry works in markets. Symmetry and timing. In fact, I just don't know if that's not it's not a fib number, 196. So anyway, that's kind of what I've got on Bitcoin, at least. What else do you guys want to look at? Anything? Questions? One that was the Dogcoin is actually a fun one, right? If you're in at the right time. And I can remember watching this one early on when I first got into crypto, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this thing. It just made wild spike moves and out of nowhere. But here it is again, and 200, 233, all the EMAs are bunched down here at the bottom. So it would not shock me in the least to see Dogcoin maybe make a move up towards 44 to 46, maybe even 50. This thing has actually made a run up here to over 100 sats in the past, but that was back at that was back when Bitcoin was on its way to 20,000. So, but maybe something a little bit more conservative. Let's call it, heck, even from here up to 60 sats is a double. right? And that's staying below these highs. That's still a double. So keep an eye on Dogcoin. ADA continues to... Yep, there it is. Oh, almost. Sorry. There we go. It's getting closer. It's retesting that area. I'm telling you guys, just keep an eye on this. I'm not trying to shill it or pump it. Keep an eye on it. ZRX, from our original call, it did hit target number 3. So target 3 we can officially call as hit. Right here. Almost 31 cents. Probably one of my better calls lately. I think security tokens are really going to be the play, probably going forward, maybe even later in the year. So just depending on which one you get into. I know that Mr. Ancient over in my Discord channel, he's been doing a lot of research on those, on security coins. So you may want to take a peek in there. And he does a really good job, guys. Please make sure to give him major kudos. He's stuck it out, and he's doing a really good job for me. EOS. Well, other than I love it, what else can I say? I think I made a call on this one in chat. I didn't put it actually in the call, but I did call it like in the main chat or whatever. But ended up making it to, I can't remember where fibs were at the time. I want to say it was like 425 or right here at 4 or something like that. And then it pulled back a little bit and held the 200, and then you see what happens then, right? So let me clean this up just a little bit, and let's just, let's just get some of this out of here and clean it up a little bit. That was such a nice play. Let me get rid of some of these fib retracements going down, and let's just clean her up a little bit. And we'll get some of those lines out of there. Make it look all nice and neat. There we go. Okay, so again, does everybody see the pattern here? What's going on some of these, right? And what to watch for when something breaks. But this area right over here was resistance for EOS. It was red. It broke through. We turned it green, and then look what happens. The move you get, right? You get a 60-cent move, right? And so now, to me, let's just do this, because I think it's nothing but air up until it gets, a little over 6. Let's call it 620. Now, somewhere in here, it could start to pause, maybe 620. So somewhere in this area, it doesn't have to hit it spot on, right? But somewhere in there, maybe even for the very, very short term, maybe 556 to 557. But to me, I think this is just a shot up to here. I'm not saying that you can't get a little red day and then all of a sudden it bounces again, but this just looks powerful, really powerful. And it's just riding that upper Bollinger Band. That is so strong. It's not getting outside of it. See that? It barely wicks outside of it, but close-wise, it's staying right inside of it. It's just hugging it. So until that changes, now you could like maybe either, I don't know about tomorrow, maybe tomorrow or the next day, you could try to get it back here on a retest of the 10 EMA. If you're not in it yet, wait until you get a little pullback and then take it back up. So that's what I've got on EOS. Link, I'm having a hard time keeping my eyes off this one. I would just love to see this thing pull back inside and have a nice little retrace and then be able to get it for the next move. Because I think this one is going to be one of those that is just going to stair step a lot higher over time. Would love to see a really good retrace on this one. That may be one to keep an eye on in the channel for a call. I'm not going to call it right here. That's just stupid. And that's not what I do. Not when something's outside Bollinger Bands. XTZ breaking 3. Looks like 311. Maybe just a hair above might be your next resistance. That's another one that's outside Bollinger Bands. So let's see if that pulls back in, retest a 10, and then continue higher. So everything's looking good in crypto land, guys. Any questions? Excuse me. Sorry about that. I had to cough. Hi, Abram. Yeah, so I was going over Abram earlier. I mentioned last night in channel, I said to keep your eye on this one, right? Because this has all the potential of a major breakout. Right? I mentioned it last night, and the reason why is because of this move right here, and then just seeing how it was basing right here around the 10 EMA, and it's holding just below major resistance. Okay? And as I speak right now, I'm going to go ahead and click out of that. I'm going to get rid of that 1272. Since it's broken it, break above let's call it 650. Get above 650, and then let's see what happens here. I just think this thing is going to break out. And what I want to see happen, and I've gone over this tonight, is break out, right? And then come back down and retest this so we can turn this into green and make that the new support zone. So you'll get people there's people in here that have bought already, or people that bought back here, and they're going to sell some profits up in here, maybe up here, and then get a dip, and then you'll get the next wave of people that's buying that support to carry it higher. Because if you look in the longer scope of things, let's look at it. Let's zoom out. You think ADA's done? You think that's the end of the move? Especially where the EMAs are? It's above the 200. It's above the 233. We can see what happens when it does that, right? See what kind of move you can get? And you can see what kind of move happens when you fail. Okay? So this is something to keep an eye on for the longer term on ADA. And this thing could just be getting started. Who knows? I mean, let's go back in time. You think this thing is, look at this. You really think that's the end of this move? I don't think so. I don't think that's the end of it at all. This is probably just the beginning. That you're going to get a lot of people that really caught it low down here in the 400s that are probably going to see when it gets up here, man, that's almost a double for them, right? They're going to take those profits, and I don't blame them. But if they're smart, they'll take a look at my trading plan and be able to keep some of that so when it does ride higher, and who knows, maybe by July when Bitcoin's testing 17,000, this thing may be up around almost 2,000. That's a 3 times move from here. That's a triple. I'm not saying it's going to get there, but I'm just saying look at the base this thing has built. Right? And then once it starts to come out of it, we'll just see what happens. That's why I'm saying keep an eye on ADA, because it can move when it wants to move. And it'll happen quickly. Let's see, what else do we got? OGN Binance. Let's take a look. Origin Protocol. Not a lot of data behind it. Not a lot of data at all. So, all right. So on something like this, I guess I could do, let's just draw it from, it's kind of hard to see where the exact bottom might have been. Let's just call it right there, I guess. And let's go up to the top. And let's see what kind of fib numbers we get and see if something's holding. Maybe a 50%, maybe 61.8 probably. No, 50. 38.2. Okay. Oh, you're welcome on Abram. You're welcome on Ada. Okay, so OGN tested the 10 EMA, right? You can see what kind of move it made off it. Price now back inside the Bollinger Bands. If it can hold right here, and let's call it, just to be conservative, let's call it 3,100. If it can, if it dipped there or not. That could be a nice little bounce play. Okay. Might be a nice little bounce play, possibly. We'll see. Market cap coin on Binance. Interesting. Okay. Lowest? Well, that makes you wonder. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, let's keep an eye on it. Let's go look at RVN. This is another one I talked about in channel a while back. It was just one of those that when you see it, you see it hit this bottom area right in here, and you see what happens anytime it hits that, right? So it hits, bottoms, sideways, pops, bottoms, sideways, and now it's trying to pop again. So let me get some of these EMAs that I drew out of here where it's passed. Let's get rid of the 1272. It's already past the 1618. Let's get 2618 in there. And it looks like it's pausing at the 61.8 longer term fib retracement. Okay, pausing right there. And it's still holding the 200-day moving average. Wicked below it, but held the 20. 50 is hooking up. We'll see. Keep an eye on this one. You never know with people out there pumping stuff the way they are. This thing could pump any day too and make a move like back in here, right? And get it possibly up into this 430 area. Maybe even retest 460. If this area holds, right? You want to see it hold that 50 EMA for sure. That's 323. Anything below that, and it probably is going to drop all the way back here. So keep an eye on that. ETC. Wow. I mean, this thing has just been a monster. I've still got some of that. I can remember somebody donating to me ETC back when it was like 370. Whoever did that, thank you very much. All right, guys, anything else? Anything else y'all want to look at? I think I've pretty much covered most everything. I think we've gone over at least what my thinking is and how I'm thinking it and all that good stuff. So FTM. Okay, let's go take a look at it real quick. Oops. Nope. I don't want that. FTM BTC. Let's see. I have looked at this one before. I don't remember how long ago it was. It had to have been a long time ago because that's back when it was back in here. Inverted head and shoulders, possibly? Shoulder, neckline, head. That's the thinking, at least. Early. Let's go ahead and draw some fibs on here and see what we got. And I would say that's probably more than likely a 38.2. Close to it. Yeah, it's already past that. Okay, and then let's put the 50 in there. And let's do another one from here to here. Just trying to figure out where it stopped at, why it stopped. Always a rhyme and a reason for everything. Get these out of there. All right. Well, it looks like the upper Bollinger Band caught it here. This little area right over here looks to be... let's do it this way. There we go. All right, so that's going to be resistance, that line right there. Your 50 EMA is right there. 119. So if it breaks that, 124 to 127 is going to be your next area of resistance. And then after that, probably up here at the 1618, which lines up with this old area of resistance, right? It was support, held, tried to hold the support and failed, tried to come back through, failed, which led it lower. So these are your resistance zones, okay? So I would, if I was a guessing man, I would say that this probably goes choppy for the next few days, possibly. Today's the 11th. Let's give it until maybe this weekend, and then let's see if it breaks out of this, possible inverted head and shoulders. That's ugly. I mean, that's just not, it's still semi-counts, but it's semi-ugly. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's your resistance zones. You would like to see price just hug the 10 and the 20 here for the next few days, and maybe, it can wick a little bit below it, just as long as it doesn't close below it. Okay, keep an eye on your closing price. And if you ever get confused on that, guys, go up here to the top and just change your candle over to a line chart. That'll help clear things up. So instead of looking at red and green sticks, you're just looking at this. Hey, you're welcome. My pleasure. So just, that's where some people can get confused, right? They look at candles and they don't really get a clear sense of, it's just a lot of wicks and a lot of, all that stuff. Just go off your closing prices. Look at line charts. Those are always better to see where your closing prices are. So, anywho, that's that. Okay, anything else? Oh, we never did go over BCH. I'll go over BCH real quick. Okay, well, I think we can pretty much get rid of that since it held that. And again, guys, look at this. I had this drawn in. This old area over here of resistance, right? Came back, broke through it. I had to turn it green, and then look at this. Price comes back and retests it, and now she moves higher. That's why you got to look at those lines, guys. Some people get sick and tired of lines, but you've got to look at old support, new resistance, or old resistance, new support. When it comes back and retests it, if it's successful, then you can almost bet your bottom dollar that price is going to respect it and move higher, like it does here. And BCH. Looks like she may want to come up here and, you got the 23.6 from a longer term fib there, and then the 1618, which is where it's pausing out a little bit right now. So fully expecting these two to break, just the way things are going. I would think that the 23.6 probably gives it more headache than here. But if these break, then obviously it's gonna be an easy pop to 613. Okay. And I mean, there is nothing but air if it passes this area right in here. Okay. I mean, it could go from 515. It can make a $100 pop in like an instant. All right, guys, any other questions? I'm going to give it about a 10-minute call here. Actually, maybe a little less. I'm going to get ready to check out and relax just a little bit. My back is killing me. All right. Well, guys, I sure appreciate everything. If you would do me a favor, if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button or recommend me if you don't mind. I'm doing all this pretty much for free unless you want to donate. But subscribe, hit the like button. Please make comments. If there's anything that you want to see, anything I can be doing better, please feel free to leave comments in the comment section, and hit the notification bell. That way, whenever I do make a video, you'll be able to get an update when it comes out. That would really help out a lot as well. If you have any suggestions, oh gosh, I've heard about that. Epsom bath, Epsom salt. Yeah, I've heard about that. But I'm going to go see my acupuncturist tomorrow. He always does wonders for me. He's about the only person that can fix me. So I'm going to go see him and get some needles thrown in me, and I'll be good. So anyway, I'll try to be back on a little bit later, guys. But if not, I sure appreciate everybody coming in. If there's anything I can ever help out with, go to the Discord channel. It should be listed over here down below. So take a look at that. Join the channel. If you have any questions, send me a message or put it in the chart request section. Or I think I've even got an Ask Crypto Fibonacci channel. So if you have any specific questions for me, please use those channels, as I'll see them a lot better. It's kind of tough to scroll back through the main channel if a lot of people are typing stuff and if I miss something. So just put it there if you would, please. All right, folks. Y'all have a great evening. Thanks again. And we may have Crypto Joe here in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, God bless. We'll see y'all later.